Guess who?
I build a fire.
Hi gang. Long time no see, huh? Well, I got a message from one of you folks out there, actually a couple of you folks out there, and I appreciate it, but I'm fine. No COVID here, nothing going on here, just bad weather and dark. And neither one of them make for good video. We've had nothing but rain and high wind, and I'm talking 50, 60, 80 mile an hour winds. Sideways rain. It's been a bear for the last several months. August alone we got 48 inches of rain. 48! That's a lot of water. So finally we've gotten some semi-decent weather, but you can see better than nothing. It is almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon on January the 2nd, 2021. Thank God the other one is over. I won't mention the name. But today, forget all the rambling, I want to talk to you about staying warm out in the woods. I had recently, a couple of months ago, I had a request to talk about how to dress when you go out in the woods in the wintertime. What I'm going to tell you is what works for me. And ask anyone, and there's basically one word that tells you what to do to get dressed to go out in the woods. And the word is layer. Most of the time, you should be wearing at least 3 layers, and maybe 4 if it's extreme cold. But at least 3 layers to go out in the woods. And I'm talking one layer of socks, maybe 2 layers on your pants, 3 layers for sure on your torso, because this is where your workings are, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, your heart, your lungs, everything that provides the rest of your body warm blood flowing through. So this is the most important part to protect. And let me start off by saying I like wool. Wool is, well, it has been around forever. A lot of people like cotton, but I tell you, in the cold weather, if you're walking around out there or you're working, cutting firewood, whatever you're doing, you're going to sweat. And cotton t-shirts, they'll absorb the moisture from your body, so they'll absorb your sweat, and it's going to stay there, and it's going to get cold, and you're going to get cold. So I like wool. Secondary, I like fleece. Both fleece and wool will take the moisture away from your body and let it go out into the next layer, if you will. Okay, this is one reason you want 3 layers in there, because the layer that's up against your body, fleece, wool, cotton, merino wool, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that's the layer that's going to be the most wet or damp, because your body sweats, it goes into that first layer. Your second layer captures it from the wicking in your first layer, okay? I don't know if I'm making this really clear, probably clear as mud. And then on the outside, you want something that's going to keep you warm and keep the wind and the rain out, okay? Nylon shell, if it's not too bad, something like this. This Onyx Arctic Shield kind of coat. I don't know what kind of material this is. It's like a nylon or nylon blend or polyester or something like that. but you want a third layer to keep out the wind and the rain. All right. Now, I mentioned merino wool a minute ago. I particularly like merino wool. I wear merino wool socks, and I wear merino wool long underwear, top and bottom, when I'm going out for a length of time, because merino wool is a wool that comes from the merino sheep, and they grow up in the mountains. I want to say it's in New Zealand, but I think they're also in the mountains of the Andes, you know, Argentina and down that way. I'm not real sure, but you can Google it. That's not important. The important thing is merino wool, especially in recent years, has become more and more popular over the regular old style sheep wool, you know, like your mother's blankets and stuff, because it's more comfortable around your body. Use that for your base layer because it doesn't itch like regular wool does. I like it. I wear merino wool socks all the time, and I get my stuff. I've got smart wool top and bottoms and several pairs of smart wool socks, although a lot of people like the darn tough socks. To me, it's 6 of 1, you know. Not cheap by any means, but then wool itself is not cheap. That's why a lot of people go with fleece. And today, because it's not too cold, it's about 32, and I'm not going to be out here very long, not much longer than to make this video here. Today I'm wearing a couple of layers of fleece. I've got a fleece undershirt on. Okay, it's heavy duty. This is a military grade fleece undershirt. Then I have a fleece pullover that my sister got me for Christmas, as a matter of fact, and it's a really warm shirt. And then I have my jacket, and this is also, I kind of wish this lining came out of here, but it doesn't. But it's kind of a fleece lining with a nylon or polyester lining or outside, and it is a nice warm coat, and it's got a pretty decent sized hood on it. And you know, when I was a kid, my parents always made me wear a hooded jacket to go to school through the snow and stuff. I hated hoods. I hated them with a passion. But as I've gotten older, hoods really, really help keep the back of your neck warm and your ears and everything else. And I would find myself wearing a hood a lot more than I used to. Gloves. These gloves, believe it or not, I got these at Home Depot. They're work gloves. They're kind of a suede leather here, and then inside they're kind of a fleece Gore-Tex, whatever it is, I don't know. But they were cheap, and they keep my hands warm. A lot of times you'll get a pair of gloves that, if they're too tight, they're going to cut off the circulation. Your fingers are going to get cold in a hurry. Sometimes you get gloves that are too thin, and you're not going to stay warm there either. I'm stumbling around in the snow here. But you can wear those thin gloves as liners for bigger gloves, okay? And then there are gloves like these. These are the Black Diamond leather. And fleece lined. And they might even have a layer of something in between there too, I'm not sure. But these things weren't cheap. These are like $85, $90 gloves. And the only problem I have with these gloves, they're too warm. Okay, standing around in really, really cold weather, they're pretty decent. You know, working, they're really good. But for days like today, when it's, like I said, 32, it won't be long before my hands are going to be really, really warm. Not really sweating, but really, really warm. So, 3 layers. Okay, you got to have a base layer, another layer, and then an outer shell that's going to block the wind and the rain. That should keep you warm, unless you're just sitting in a snowbank doing nothing. You know, then you better be near a fire because you're going to be cold. So anyway, I want to thank you all for sticking with me. I hope you all had a very good Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, and a Happy New Year. This year is going to be better, I'm sure. It can't be any worse. And like I said, this is January 2. So we'll see what happens during the next few years. I haven't done my occupational job. I'm an entertainer. I haven't done that since a year ago, this past September, because where I work, where I perform is it's a seasonal place, and obviously that's not happening. So I've taken a job. I'm full-time at our local Sportsman's Warehouse, and that's 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, and then I go to work in the dark, I come home in the dark, so there's nothing in between. And on the weekends, even during the week, but on the weekends, it's been, like I said, really crappy weather. So we're starting to get a little bit of a break in the weather, and hopefully we'll be able to get out more and do some more videos. I got a whole bunch of things that are rolling around in my head to do. Oh, by the way, I did find a bunch of videos that I had recorded before, and I'm going to try and put those together. A lot of them I didn't like the sound on them, or something else was wrong with it or whatever, but I'm going to try and mush it all together, each one of them, and put out some more videos that have been recorded last year and the year before and God knows when. So anyway, we're over 600 members in the club now. Thank you very much. We keep this up, I'm going to have to do another giveaway when we hit 1,000. So anyway, thanks thanks for sticking with me here. I appreciate it very much. I hope this answers your question about staying warm out in the woods. It's simply layers. That's the bottom line of whatever you're going to do out in the woods. Layers. You get too hot, you take a layer off. You get too cold, you put another layer on. But what the layers consist of is determined by the environment you're in. So, my name is Brian. I appreciate you hanging around and sticking with me for all these months that I haven't put out a thing. Hopefully it'll get better. In the meantime, I am an old man in the woods. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.